preview. You're listening to The Sizzle on Iron Skillet Radio and Iron Skillet Television.
You know what it is. You know who it is. It's The Sizzle back in the building. You know who's here. I'm G Sizzle. And hey, look who's here. Rich Sizzle's in the building. What's going on, Rich?
Hey, it's like, welcome back, huh?
Man, I'm going to start singing the song to you. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. My man Jay Sizzle's on assignment out in the streets in the wild, trying to figure out who he can go and search for as the new Bears quarterback. So, Rich, let's talk about it real quick, man. How you feeling about Andy Dalton as your lead quarterback for the Bears? You go.
You know,
You that excited?
It's kind of like a kid at Christmas. They're like, hey, son, I didn't get you that PS5 for Christmas that you wanted, but I did get you this really nice water bottle. Hey.
Well, you know, water bottles are needed. They're a good thing.
Yeah, quarterback is needed.
Okay, so let's just talk about it. Let's get it out there. Okay. Andy Dalton, 1 year, $10 million with some money. I think he can make in $3 million up to incentives.
Yes, $3 million incentives.
Is this the plan? Is this everything? Is this all? This is what we've been waiting for? Andy Dalton. That's what you're saying.
So the news is that they were actively going after Russell Wilson and fell short. Now, the question is, how active were they going? I don't know, but that's what everybody is saying. They wanted Russell Wilson and Seattle just refused to go. So the consolation prize is Andy Dalton. This is our quarterback. I don't know.
I'm just saying. All right. So if he's the consolation prize, okay, well, then what do you do with, because you got a quarterback sitting there. You got Nick Foles sitting there. And you've got, I mean, nobody wants to talk about it, but Mitchell Trubisky is still out there in these streets. He's going to have to go somewhere. Mitchell, the little guy, he was the quarterback, short kind of guy, had the beard.
Oh, that guy they gave up draft picks for. Yeah. All right.
That guy.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah.
You know, I gave him an amazing stat to Jay, and Jay Sizzle wasn't impressed. But do you know, in all the time, the last, I think, 2 seasons, Mitchell Trubisky, in all of his passes and all of his interception, he has not thrown a pick 6 yet.
Yes, I saw that. That is fine. That's good stats to know. But how many sixes has he thrown, though? How many yards has he thrown? I think I saw a stat somewhere where the Chicago Bears are still a 4,000 less quarterback passer.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like the only team in the NFL that doesn't have a 4,000 yard passer.
It's rough to think that you're one of the storied franchises, one of the historied and one of the lore of NFL legend, and you still can't get one thing straight. And that one thing is the quarterback. The thing that you need to get straight. The thing that has to be in place for this to get straight. So I don't know what Andy Dalton brings. And maybe you see something, Rich, I don't see, but I don't know what he could bring that would even be worth $10 million.
Well, $10 million is pretty standard when you look across the board on what other quarterbacks are getting paid. So it wasn't a bad deal. The question is this going to be the starter? Is Andy Dalton going to start, or is Nick Foles, like you said, are they just going to jettison Mitch Trubisky, get him on out of there, and we're done with him? If we're paying him $10 million, fine, so be it. I mean, we spent how much money on Glennon?
Yeah,
you know,
it's kind of bad.
So for them to come and give Andy Dalton $10 million, I mean, right there, I feel like it's a victory. They're at least kind of trying to steer in the right direction. Like, hey, dude, you're old, you're average at best, but you know, we'll still put a little bit of money in your pocket if you do good for us this year. So I mean, he knew going in he was going to be behind Dak Prescott unless he got hurt. And I think Andy Dalton still feels like he can be a starting quarterback somewhere. He didn't do bad in Cincinnati. He just didn't do great. I mean, in the regular season, he was okay, but he never took Cincinnati beyond anywhere relevant in the playoffs. And that's where I have to kind of say, this is not where the Bears need to be going. I mean, is he going to be better than Mitch Trubisky? Yeah, he should be. Mm-hmm. Is he going to be better than Nick Foles? I don't know. Playoff wise, probably not.
Yeah, the one thing that's tricky about Mitch is that Mitch has been able to get to the playoffs. He's been able to be there, and maybe it's more bad play calling than bad playing, but it's a combination of both. But here's the biggest question now. Number one, do we think that the Bears did everything they possibly? I mean, it sounds good. It sounds good when Adam Schefter is like, hey, the Bears did everything they could. They made this amazing package where they were going to trade all of their picks and maybe, some other teams' picks too. But is that prudent? I mean, if you're telling me that you're trading everything you got to get Russell Wilson, what else do you have? You got Russell Wilson and no picks.
Well, let's look at it like this. Did they try everything? Probably. But I'm going to say it because you say, hey, we're going to give you the next 5 first-round draft picks that we have for the next 5 years. Seattle knows that those next 5-round draft picks are going to be high 20s at best because Russell Wilson, with even an average at best defense, and the Bears have a little bit better than average at best defense, it's going to go into the playoffs and probably go a little further than just the first round. So that's not going to do anything for them. What else do the Bears have to give them? Nothing really. Maybe Khalil Mack, who starting to his age may start to catch up to him. He's definitely a premier player, but for how long? Is he premier for the rest of Russell Wilson's career? Probably not. Sure. So they probably did try to throw everything they have at him. But then you also have to look at the other turnaround. Russell Wilson was not like Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson adamantly says, I want up out of here. Get me out of here. I don't want to be here anymore. We never really heard Russell Wilson say that. He just was kind of like, things are a little different around here kind of thing. He is a true gentleman and just that type of guy that he's a sportsmanship. So you're going to do everything you can to put what you can around him at least. So it was easy to say, hey, Russell Wilson, we're just not interested in trading for him because Seattle knows the type of person that he is. Now, did they go make a phone call to Sierra and try to get her ticked off and say, hey, why don't you make some waves? You could be the next Oprah Winfrey out here. Forget Seattle. I don't know if they made that kind of call. I mean, I would have played and hit underneath the belt. I would have went there and tried to get Sierra involved. Now, did they do that? Probably not. But beyond that, I mean, looking at Seattle, that would have been the dumbest move on the planet. I mean, unless Russell Wilson actually says, get me out of here and Chicago's where I want to go, come rain or sleet or snow. But he never said that. So,
yeah, and we never heard anyone confirm that Russell Wilson wanted to go. And the Bears could only offer their first round pick, which is in the 20s, which again, where Jay and I have had our conversations and in previous shows, we've talked about, I like Leatherwood out of Alabama. I think if you're going to get a ready-made left guard, left tackle, maybe you can move him over right tackle, right guard, wherever you'll need him on that line. He might be able to play center for you. Nice, stout player, maybe able to get him in the first round, maybe second. But Jay is adamant that you need a lineman. I think you could either go defensive lineman or you could go offensive lineman. I do like some of the D tackles that are there. At some point, you're going to have to replace that nose with Akeem Hicks. But I'm still not convinced. I'm not convinced at all, Rich, that the Bears really were trying. I don't know. Maybe it's skepticism. Maybe it's just I'm jaded. I just don't feel that they were trying that hard to get somebody else other than Andy Dalton, the person they actually got, because that's what they wanted. They got it, Andy Dalton.
I do think they wanted Russell Wilson. I just don't think they tried. Like you said, they didn't try as hard as they say they did. It's just the thing about the Bears is frustrating for me about, especially with the quarterback play. If you look at the history for the last couple of years or so, with the exception of Khalil Mack, their free agency look at things is kind of weird. It's like they'll go for the average at best player to sign over the sure best thing. But when it comes to drafting, including, you know, with the exception of that guy you were talking about, Mitch Trubisky, they will go for the boom or bust player over the obvious ready start person, i.e., you know, Deshaun Watson. And I'll just be like, what are you doing with draft picks? Like you said, the obvious choices are there. Now, I may differ because regardless of what you want to say, one of the reasons that Chicago doesn't have a 4,000-yard passer is because they just don't have the receivers to pass to. Right. So you may want to look at a receiver. I know they took a shot at one of supposedly the obvious with Kevin White, and he just fizzled out from the beginning. But outside of that, have they ever really drafted high with receivers? Beyond him, you have Alshon Jeffrey, which that was a serious gamble due to his injury problems. And there was some evidence. It's like, well, you know, maybe he's not durable. So,
yeah. But I don't know. Right now, I heard reports, and there have been reports that they're trying to trade Anthony Miller and get something like what? What are you going to get for Anthony Miller right now outside of a low round pick? And you need receivers. So why are you trying to trade him again?
Like what? I mean, he wasn't bad.
He wasn't bad, but maybe he just doesn't fit into the Matt Nagy way of sucking. I don't know.
Why? Because you threw the ball 10 feet over his head, and he's instead of him only being 6'1", you need a guy that's 7'6". Yes.
You need Shaquille O'Neal's son out there. If they had Sharif as a receiver, maybe some of those passes would have gone to him. But yeah, you can't throw a 9-foot high ball to a 4'2" receiver. It's not gonna.
No, I don't care how good a receiver you are. If you're throwing the ball 3 feet behind the receiver, he's not going to catch it. Right. That's impossible. He's running a route, and you totally missed the route.
Totally missed the route and totally missed everything else. But, you know, it just, as we get ready to wrap, one of the things I can say about the Bears that is comforting is that they are consistently inconsistent. And that gives me warmth in my heart to know that the Bears are always going to do what the Bears do. They're bearing out there, not bear down. They just bear themselves. It's just bear out there. I want to say another word, but I can't.
Let me ask you a question. Do you feel like the Bears are gambling on their dynamic defense and just hope they can get a middle of the road game managing quarterback, kind of like what Peyton Manning was at the end of his career for Denver?
I hope my thought to your question is what you just stated. I think if you feel you can get an Andy Dalton in who can be a bridge quarterback, and that you have a new year with this phenomenal defense, which you still have to find some outside rushers. You're going to have to find some nickel cornerbacks. I think they can run it back, and this defense will hold up, and it's going to do something that it didn't do last year. The problem with the defense was they were on the field too long. And any defense will bow, they will break. They won't just bend, they'll break if you put them out on the field. Khalil Mack, look, man, Khalil is a great person, great defender, but you cannot have him double, triple teamed by 3-4 linemen and then chipped by the running back. I mean, it's just until you can get somebody who can read defenses, know how to get offenses in line, and be able to make just some competent throws, you're going to be where you are. You're going to be where you are. And that's where, Rich, unless you're telling me they're getting ready to get a guy in the second round like Andy Dalton that could give you 10 years of quarterback play, mediocre quarterback play.
Well, that with Matt Stafford.
All right, who would you rather have, Matt Stafford or anybody the Bears has?
Oh, that's not fair. Come on now.
Just anybody. It doesn't matter. They have Matt Stafford, Mitchell Trubisky.
I'm almost at a point where I'm just like, if we're going to swing for the fences on just stupidity, just go get Fitzpatrick and keep going. You know, at least there's something you can laugh at. I mean, geez, you come in with Fitzpatrick, at least it's like, all right, we know we threw in the towel. We just want to see Fitzpatrick have another kid in Chicago. That's it, you know?
How many does he have now? Is it like a choir there? Can he really form his own team now?
Yeah, there was like some fun fact. It was like he had a kid at every city that he played for or something like that. And I think he played for about 7 different teams. I hope I'm not misquoting, but I think that's something I read. Like he had at least one kid wherever he played at or whatever like that. He's got like 7 or 8 kids.
Okay. Well, on that note, with that as a given, yeah, I don't even know where you can go from there. That is just, I mean, you can't even, I don't even think you can do anything after that. I really don't.
You know, I mean, come on now. Chicago is a great city for what we talk about with Chicago and its shenanigans. It is a great city. You are not going to sit here and tell me that you can't sell with this city and the organization with its historic and everything that it has. You can't get better than Andy Dalton.
You could if your whole organization was not inept, in which they are. And it's been legacy. As long as they've been there, they've been inept. And I know the McCaskies don't want to hear it. I know they subscribe to the Sizzle, and I know they listen. So I'm just going to say this quickly. Find somebody who knows something about football from the rooter to the tutor. And the person you think knows something about football actually doesn't. I'm just putting that out there to you. That's just a G-Sizzle kind of nudge to you that Ryan Pace has no idea. He has no clue of what he's doing right now. And this is going to be terrible. It's going to be horrible because it's going to be the same thing. And it's going to be an 8-8 record. And I don't know if you'll have the COVID playoff extra game to win to get into the playoffs.
So what you're telling me is that the reason Jay Sizzle might be missing from today's show is because he could be pulling a coup out there at Hallis Hall?
You know it's all fizzle if it don't sizzle, dog. I'm telling you right now, there may be an opportunity where you see Jay Sizzle standing on top of Hallis Hall with a flag, the Sizzle flag, waving it and saying that he is taking over. Can you dig it? So I think that's what it's going to be. I think it's going to be Jay Sizzle and taking over everything. So listen, man, we got to get ready to get out of here. But if you have not subscribed, liked, or shared the Sizzle, then first of all, don't have Jay Sizzle come to your house and beat on your door. Get on up, push the button. It's here, it's there, it's over there. Push the button, like, share, and subscribe. And if you say, well, I can't find you. Where are you? You can find us on any platform at Iron Skillet Sports. You can find us anywhere. And you can find us anywhere else at hashtag Iron Skillet Sports 219. It's that easy. We're there. We're there for you. We comfort you in your time of need. So, Rich, is there something you want to leave the people with that's comforting?
Ooh, I know a great cupcake place right off of Michigan Avenue called Sprinkles, and you may have to really load up on them this season. If all else fails, they have great cupcakes.
No, you don't want me to go much further.
Okay, so that's what we're going to leave it right there. We're going to leave it at if everything else fails with the Bears, at least you have Sprinkles. Sprinkles. It makes a whole world better. And, You know who it is. You know what it is. It's the Sizzle here on Iron Skillet Radio, Iron Skillet Television. We are the talk of the 219. We are the hottest talk in the 219, and we will see you on the other side.